grandfather went to the fence by Milled_Oats. About 30 years ago, my grandfather was extremely unwell and had his fourth heart attack. During this heart attack, he said he went to a beautiful green pasture with a fence. As he approached the fence, he saw a gate and his old friend. He warmly greeted his friend on the other side of the fence. They caught up and talked about my grandfather's life. After about 10 minutes, my grandfather suddenly remembered his friend had died many years ago. My grandfather pointed this out, and his friend said, Jim, I did, and so have you. But it's not your time. The Almighty God has granted you an early release from your life, as from here on in it will be very difficult with your health. My grandfather asked what it was like where he was, and his friend told him wonderful. He then asked would his wife be coming soon, and he got a reply. It's not her time and she will live a long time yet. She did live another 25 years. My grandfather asked how he would cross and was told to open the gate and he would be welcome. My grandfather told his friend he couldn't leave my grandmother yet. His friend simply smiled and my grandfather woke up with a nurse on his chest performing CPR. He lived 3 more years in very poor health and quality of life was poor. That's real. There's a real one for that. Great. Trying to use something very silly to prop up my camera. Is that working out? Kind of. Good. Okay. Howard Storm, we read that one. That was a spooky one. Okay, let's see if we can watch this TikTok video on here. Oh, it's 9 minutes long. Wow, okay. What the heck? Why would little bro think he's a bad kid?
You're not a bad kid. I'm so troubled. No, you don't. You just skateboard. I love my mom. I miss my mom. Where's my mom? I'm right here. I miss my mom. I'm right here, Kason. Oh, Jesus. You're so beautiful.
They're all just laughing at him.
Jesus, when are you coming back? We need you. I need you. I miss you, Jesus. I miss you. Dad, you're so pretty. Hi, Dad. Do you see me skateboarding? Okay. Mom loves you, Dad. She tells you all the time. I love Mom and Mom loves you, Dad. I love Mom. My mom's the best. She's the best mom ever. You're doing so good, Jason. That's not my name. Oh? My name is Brian. Hi, Dad. Okay. You're so beautiful. You're so beautiful.
That's kind of wild. Bro's just like looking up at the sky, probably legitimately saying something. Yo, what up, Charles? Probably legitimately saying something, dude. That's a wild video. I nearly died at 15. This is what happened this is what I experienced by Zesty Close Policy 234. I was about 15 or 16, stuck in a really dark place. I'd started huffing butane. Wow. And one night I took too much. I don't remember passing out, but after a while, I wasn't really me anymore. I found myself floating in the corner of my room, upside down. It wasn't like a dream. I had a full 360-degree view of everything around me. I could see my body lying on the bed, the butane still in my hand. Then I saw my parents standing over me. My dad looked angry but was trying to comfort my mom, who was crying. My brother wasn't there. The weird part is they hadn't even come into my room yet when I passed out. It was like I was seeing the future, or maybe their feelings before it even happened. I could feel their fear and disappointment. It hit me like a crushing weight. I tried to reach them, but there was an invisible wall I couldn't get past. I screamed, but no one could hear me. That feeling, their fear and disappointment, was so intense. It pulled me back out of my out-of-body experience ended right there. When I woke up, I was dazed and confused. I didn't know how I got back or how long I'd been out. I had no sense of time, couldn't tell if it was minutes or hours. My knees felt numb, like they weren't mine, and I could barely stand. For months after, I honestly thought I died that night, like this life I'm living now is some kind of continuation of death. Sometimes I still wonder if I'm really alive or if it's all just a strange illusion. I don't know if my heart stopped or skipped a beat. I don't know why I came back. There was no medical help. But I do know I was somewhere between life and death, and feeling my parents' fear was what brought me back. That's real. That's real. Because you probably don't really think about that when you're huffing butane at 15 or 16. What the heck? I had a medical-related NDE. Last fall, I had a septic infection in my blood. I was taken by ambulance to one hospital, and in ICU they put me under sedation, ketamine/fentanyl, and transferred me via ambulance to a hospital with dialysis machines as my kidneys had shut down. I was unconscious for about a week. I dreamed the whole time. I felt very much like I was waiting. What I had visions of was a very dark chamber. It was like a waiting room for geishas of all things. Is that how you pronounce it? I was in there, but it was very dark, and I wasn't able to move. I could hear beeping and flashing lights. Wood? Oh, hold on. Lights would occur occasionally. I remember there was a fruit basket discussion at one point that was from a store at the lake where my family has a summer property. It was like I was just waiting in this waiting room for, there's that word again. Let's see. It's spelled Geishas. So I'm getting something about female Japanese performing artists and entertainers, and then the pronunciation. They don't have anything. But it's also known as Geico, and they're saying like, oh, for their insurance company, see Geico, and they're like, it's spelled Geiko. I don't know if that's what he's referencing. In this waiting room for geishas, or let's say Geikos from now on, I guess. I don't even know if that's what it is, but on Halloween Day, I presume, who knows really, the vision changed to me waiting around the stairs of a vampire house, but they returned to the Geico waiting room after. It was all implied, like I intrinsically knew it, and other than the impatient feelings of waiting, I felt very calm and at peace. I woke up about a week later, slowly. A family member was there with me when I woke up, and it was my birthday. I spoke with a man a few months ago who shared with me his NDE, and he said mine is most definitely also a NDE, but that they weren't sure if I should be ready for death or not, something to that effect. I'm so grateful for every day, and having had that experience, I realize even more how incredible life is. It wasn't a scary experience aside from the fact I almost died, but I even find myself annoyed when I notice that I'm taking life for granted or catch myself saying I'm bored. For Geikos of all things. Yeah, a Japanese performing art women Japanese performing artists and entertainers trained in traditional Japanese performing arts such as dance, music, and singing. And then, like, here's the picture that they use. Are they the ones, like, that use those big, like, fans? You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. Here's another picture. Let's get this up. Yeah, I've seen this before. I didn't know there was, like, a term for them, but it's, like, in the pronunciation, if I can just get that somewhere. I'll just say Geikos, because I think that's right. Let's watch this. Maybe they say it and we can figure out how they say it.
Geishas are an iconic symbol of Japanese culture.
Okay. So it's pronounced geishas. Okay. And in this NDE, there's like a waiting room for that specific occupation, apparently. And I wonder if that applies to other occupations. And it's also interesting how our last names tend to or used to like be related to occupation. My NDE 0701-2024 by OK Upstairs 3500. My GI system had been giving me fits for quite some time. I had been struggling for a few weeks. My now former GI doctor told me that IBS doesn't cause any serious harm and that I should just relax. I began feeling hot in the afternoon of 06/30/24. I knew something was different later that night. I slept very little that night and made several trips to the bathroom. I got up at 7 with the intention of getting ready for work. I remember thinking, oh no. The next thing I remember was hearing my wife on the phone talking about me. I heard sirens and then paramedics were in my house. One of them was trying to talk to me. I heard my wife talking to someone else, telling them that she heard a boom and found me in a pool of blood. Someone yelled that my blood pressure was 50/30 and that he couldn't get blood for a finger stick. This is when everything became very calm. I can recall relaxing like I never had before. I was aware that I was at peace. All of the sounds around me disappeared. I don't know how long this lasted. I then felt a warm and a sense of bright place. Maybe they meant peace. Place without seeing it through my eyelids. Okay, I think they did mean peace. Place, I mean. At this moment, I heard my mother's voice. My mother died in 2010. I heard my mother say my first name and then ask, what happened? I'm not totally sure what happened next. At some point, the paramedics put me in something to carry me out of the house. I recall being inside of the ambulance. It started to fade out again and my mother's voice returned. This time she called me by a nickname I had when I was a little kid. She again asked me what happened. There was a flurry of activity in the ambulance and I vaguely remember arriving at the hospital. I was later diagnosed with sepsis due to diverticulitis. I spent a week in the hospital. Nurses often told me that most people with a blood pressure of 50/30 don't make it. One told me that God was with me. I don't know what happened, but I know that it did happen. Tomorrow morning, I'll pause and think about that day. I don't really fear death anymore. I don't want to die, but I know that it'll be peaceful. Well, that's a nice one to end it on, huh? Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. Yeah, thanks for joining in the live stream and all that. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.